Hey guys, thanks for checking out my video. I know I meant to do the race the other day on Saturday, but I didn't get a chance to, charge my batteries, so kind of my fault there. But I'll definitely do the Goodyear half and the first weekend of August, so I'll be definitely posting updates about that, so keep an eye out. So right now I'm going at the Goodyear Trail at the Goodyear Metro Park. I did a 10-mile run today, not too bad, and now it's finally nice out. Let's see if you can see. Yeah, because last time I was here it was all cold and snowy and icy and stuff. So now I'm also testing out my new my little bar I got, my little handle, so I don't have this little short stumpy handle all the time that's like a foot in front of my face. So this way I have a better angle. So hopefully it'll be a nice summer. It's supposed to be hot this week, which I love. I wish it was hot all year round, but I can move to Florida for that. So, and other than that, it's been nice weather for running and biking. I should get more videos biking actually. That'll be nice. And other than that, not a whole lot going on. Next thing I know, it'll be winter again. And I won't like that. Which way to go? I think I go that way. Alright, I think I took a wrong turn back there, but funny story about these races. So I used to run, I started running back in I think 2008 or 2009 because I think I took the wrong turn, but it's good enough. But yeah. So yeah, I started running, more frequently in 2008 or 2009, and it just kind of stuck. Like I was doing a lot of runs in the park, in the sand run trail, the jogging trail, and I've seen it change a lot throughout the years. And then I moved back to Florida, down the Panhandle, which I kind of miss because the weather was a little bit more forgiving down there. Sure, it got cold during the night, but you didn't have to worry about like 8 months of snow, or felt like 8 months of snow. And I was able to run all year round without having to bundle up and dress up and whatever. So, but the trade-off is there weren't many trails down there in Panama City. There's like a little conservation park, as you've seen in one of my previous videos. These bugs. I mean, it was all right. The conservation park was good, but at least with here, when it gets hot, the humidity's not as bad, so the shade protects you a little bit from the heat. And so to go back to my story about the races, so I lived in Florida for like, I don't know, I was there again for 7 years or whatever, 7.5 years, and I just run and do my own thing. I don't think they had many races when I was down there, not that I know of. I mean, like right before I left, they had I think a 5K, a half marathon. No wait, it was a 10K. Yeah, 10K, half marathon, and full marathon on Front Beach. And I had no idea it existed because you know, it wasn't really advertised as much as like Akron here with the Akron Marathon. But I didn't know of it until like after I left. I kind of wish, you know, I knew of it of the time because they started doing it and doing the races in December of 2017, or sorry, 2015. So I could have done it a couple of times, you know, before I left. But if I ever move back, now I know they have a race, so that would be something. But oh, look here, here's what I was looking for. Alder Pond. So, but yeah, so when I moved back from Florida, sorry, these bugs are everywhere. There. When I moved back from Florida in summer of 2017, and I remember that like it was yesterday, my buddy was like, hey, you know, there's a pumpkin run, like a little 5K pumpkin run in Akron. And, you know, I decided to do that, and that was kind of my first forte, you know, my start with races. It was kind of fun. You know, you could do a tough pumpkin and carry a pumpkin around with you for an extra medal. And the nice thing is they're magnetized, so you can take them off the lanyard and, you know, put them on your fridge if you wanted to. So, and then next year after that, we did the Akron half. And, you know, at the time I didn't know there was a race series going on. You know, the 8K and the Gooodyear, and then the First Energy half throughout the summer. I didn't learn about that until like, I don't know, 2021. But apparently it's been going on since 2012, if I remember. Because I remember one year, well, I started back at my old job that sponsored it, so I get to race them for free, which is nice. And you know, one year I accidentally signed up for the Gooodyear half. Because, you know, I don't know why I did actually. I just actually signed up for it because the promo code worked for it as well. So I'm like, oh, look at that, I didn't even know. So I could have done it, well, I could have done it in 2019, but they didn't give out the promo codes until like well after, like in September. That's when they have the main race. And you know, the 2020, you know what happened then, COVID hit, so they didn't really have any races then. They had virtual races, but what's the fun in that? And then 2021 is like when I signed up for the Gooodyear by accident, in which I wish I did the 8K then as well, but, and that's the year after that I started doing the whole series, because I figured out, you know, I could do all of them for free, and then you get an extra finisher medal for doing all the race series at the same time. So, well, that's my quick little story of my, you know, races. Then I'll see if I can find any good spots here at the park, and I'll show you guys some pretty good spots. Now, I always wondered where those little random trails went off to. Probably some like service route or something. Whew. Man, these hills, that's one thing about these parks up here in Akron. They give you lots of hills, so it's definitely good leg workout. You gotta be careful, these little divots here. So another little bit of information is that even though, you know, I enjoy doing races, I never really liked trail running, just due to the nature of the uneven terrain, like big old rocks like this, and twigs and roots sticking out everywhere. I've done a couple races called the Mingo Madness through the Mingo Trail, which connects to my Sand Run Park jogging trail. And the funny thing is that when I was a kid, there was a sledding hill that was on one side of the trees, and I had no idea that it connected to the rest of the park, because, well, one reason I was a kid, so I didn't really think about it, because there's a sledding hill, and on the other there's like a little trail that leads down to the other side. And ever since I was a kid, they changed up the route and the different trails and stuff. So, but point being, I figured out about that during one of my Mingo Madness trail runs. And then, because it started at my old sledding hill, and then I ran down to the jogging trail I always jogged at. And it's always kind of interesting when you figure out stuff like that, how things are like closer than they appear. So, whew. Now that's one big incline. Gotta keep my cardio up because I want to do good for the half marathon this year.